Nneka Ogboi is here. She is a baby food entrepreneur, an investment manager, and a mother. Very important. And now, as a working mom, Nneka holds a business degree from the University of Stanford, Canada, and a certificate in child nutrition and cooking offered by Stanford University. Now, today she will be discussing introducing solids at 6 months as a popular winning food option. And it's such a pleasure to have you in the studio with us today.
It's always my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
I see all you brought, and I'm very interested in this. We've been talking so much about food for babies when they're ready to stop just breastfeeding, exclusive breastfeeding, and you're trying to like get them into the real world.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so this is more like descriptive. Let me allow you take it over from here. What is this about?
Okay, so I brought visuals today because I know a lot of parents are usually confused, and the best way to explain is by showing the examples. So I've displayed here what a typical meal could be for a 6-month-old baby. Some things to bear in mind is when introducing solids, parents want to be careful that they touch on 3 things. That the introduction of foods is timely, meaning at 6 months, not before, not after. That's very important, that it has to be at 6 months. You also want to make sure that you're being safe.
Why does it have to be at 6 months?
It has to be at 6 months because before that 6 months, your child is not ready for foods like this. Their organs are not ready to digest foods like this. So if you're giving them things like this, it's really hard on their system. Okay. After, it's a bit too late because at 6 months, the breast milk is no longer enough to sustain them. So you're depriving them of the nutrients that they require from foods. So that's why it needs to be at 6 months. Okay? And then the next thing is that it needs to be safe. So babies are very sensitive. Yeah. So you want to make sure that you're using clean hands, observing hygienic practices. So for example, you want to separate raw meats from raw vegetables because of cross-contamination. You want to avoid things like that. Also, when serving your baby foods, you want to make sure that you're not keeping foods at room temperature for longer than 2 hours because foodborne bacteria can grow in those foods. So safety is very important because they're sensitive. And then the third thing is that it needs to be adequate. That's why I brought this today. Because when they turn 6 months, they need certain key nutrients, right? One of them being energy. So your carbohydrate will take care of that.
That's the potato.
That's
sweet
the potatoes.
There.
Yes. Okay. We'll take care of that. Okay. You know, at this age, they're doing a lot more crawling, exploring their environment. So they need that energy from their food. Okay. The next thing you want to make sure you have is iron. Iron is very important. So for a meal like this, you want to include things for iron, such as your liver. Liver is a great source of iron. Other flesh from animals as well, so meats. Iron can also be found in legumes and green leafy vegetables.
So it's okay to give a 6-month-old meat?
Oh, definitely. It's actually encouraged to offer them meats daily because that's a great source of iron. If they lack iron in their diet, they can become anemic, fall sick very easily. A lot of parents find that, oh, my child is getting sick, not recovering quickly. All of these things are as a result of the lack in iron in their diet. So you want to make sure that you have that in there. So meats, very essential. Okay. Then the third thing is vitamin A.
Vitamin A.
Very important for their eyesight, eye development. So you want to make sure that you get it from sources. They're usually available in orange flesh fruits and vegetables. So your carrots, pawpaw, mango, pumpkin, things of that nature. Unbleached palm oil, great sources of vitamin A. So you can include that in your baby's food as well.
Oh, wow. Okay, you know what? Let's do more like a practical, okay? So I need you to describe what each measurement means and how we should use it, like when we're feeding the baby, what's enough for the baby for each meal.
Okay, so for example, with this, you only need about 1/4 cup of your carbohydrates, your vegetables, because at 6 months, their stomachs are still really small. So that blue cup there is 1/4, and that kind of explains how much your baby is going to start eating at 6 months.
That's blue cup is what you should give a baby.
Yes.
This one you're talking about, right?
Yes.
So this is what you should give the baby.
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes. So
most parents, when you're at 6 months, you're thinking, when the baby eats this amount, you're like, you've not eaten,
anything.
And then you have this bowl, even something sometimes bigger than this, and you're like, you have to finish this food.
Yeah.
And then when you don't finish,
my baby doesn't
I have to say
eat.
to Yoruba, Waroku. So are you telling me this is enough?
Yes,
so children know exactly what's enough for them.
Exactly. So this is the starting point, this blue. Your goal is to walk all the way up to the red by age 1.
What?
Right? So you start here and let your baby decide how much they want to eat. So if they finish that, you can offer more. But if they don't, you kind of work with that.
You just insist on, okay, at least finish this one.
Yes, so this is the starting point, exactly.
So this goes from like 6 months.
Yes.
7 months.
Yeah.
Then starts getting bigger from 8 months.
So the yellow by 8 months.
9 months.
Yeah.
Then 10 months. And then maybe like getting to the
Closer
red.
to this. By age 1.
Wow.
So
I'm so glad you brought this because most parents don't know. Okay,
No.
so this yellow here is the average, is the midpoint.
Yes.
Wow. Most parents don't know. You just say to yourself, this child is not eating. No, just ate like 3, tablespoons and the baby is fine.
The solid foods are complementary at this age. So they're still drinking breast milk or formula throughout the day. And they still get a lot of nutrients from that. So this is just adding on to that.
Now, when you have a baby that likes fruits, of course, at that point it's liquid. You're more or less squeezing the fruits, juices and all. Now, if you have a baby that likes that, can you include it? Like, say, for example, you have the puree, the sweet potato puree, carrot puree, the green pepper puree. We haven't talked about the bell peppers. You have that puree. Then just to sweeten it, you now put maybe like pineapple juice or orange juice. Is it okay? Or will it cause any problem?
So you're fine to do that. I would suggest the whole fruits, actually, because the juice is concentrated in sugar.
Okay.
The whole fruits has the sugars and the fibers present in the pineapple, for example.
Okay.
So you can include those. I always encourage parents to think outside the box because sometimes we want to offer what we are used to.
Yeah.
But for kids, you really need to focus on the nutrients. And the vitamin C, as you mentioned, is a great source. The pineapple is a great source of vitamin C, right? So not just the sweetness, it adds vitamin C, which, by the way, helps in the absorption of iron.
Wow.
So if you're adding it there, you're actually boosting that food more than you realize.
You know what, Nneka? I feel like this is a conversation that will probably go on and on and on. There is never enough time. If you want to learn more, just head straight to our social media pages, and I'm sure she'll be willing to respond to you. Thank you so much for your time, Nneka.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure.